Get to know the babes behind the brand as they talk business, women supporting women, and share what it's really like to work in the fashion industry.
Welcome back.
Hello.
Live from LA.
Hi. It's Leah here.
Katelyn. Shows her beautiful face on the podcast this morning.
Yes. Her beautiful voice, maybe?
Beautiful. Well, I'm looking at her
Yeah.
beautiful face. Thank you. Her beautiful
So
voice
true.
for all of you guys.
Exactly. We have a really exciting guest today.
I think you should just do it. Leah.
I'm going
Just
right
intro.
into this. All right. There's a lot of words, obviously a lot of words, but there's a lot of tongue twisters
Words?
in this intro. So let's see if I can do this well. This powerhouse woman started her career as a double board certified pediatric anesthesiologist. She's married that experience with her Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandising education to create the Haute Healing Foundation, whose goal is to bring the gift of hope, self-confidence, and well-being to chronically ill, terminally ill, homeless, or disadvantaged children and young adults. We are so excited to have Dominique Aimee.
Hello,
That
thank you for
definitely
having
deserves
me.
a round of applause.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Thank you, thank you. I should come here every day.
Yeah, we're like boosters.
I
We're
love it. I
little,
love it. Thank you for having me.
And
I'm so
I had to
excited.
cut back the intro. I was like, I could say so many things here, but this is all. I have to summarize it. I love your journey and I'm so excited to dive
Thank
into
you.
that. But let's go through our questions first. Donni, you want to kick us off with your boss or bust?
I'm going to take a bust.
Uh-oh.
Nothing crazy, but I'm had a moment of reflection when I packed for the trip. And I've been in my new house for 2 months? Probably something like that. A month and a half?
I feel like it's less, month and a half.
I think it's been almost 2 months.
Wow, okay.
And my closet, I still have not moved my clothes over. It's kind of gotten to that stage where I'm I feel like I had a moment of reflection where I was I have got all my kids' rooms ready. I've Marie Kondo'd my life, my house. I have every drawer organizer, and we have a guest.
No, I don't know it.
a
Our doorbell
surprise
rang.
guest.
All
Maybe
of our friends
maybe we
in
should
LA are
pop
right
that
in
do
this
not
room.
disturb on the door handle.
But I was kind of how am I totally putting myself last,
Yeah.
right? How everybody else is totally functional, but I have not made it a priority to completely give myself in order to the same.
Yeah.
So I just had a moment. I was next week when I get home, I am totally prioritized. Is that my online orders that came?
Oh, housekeeping. Oh, they're so sweet.
They can come to my place. No problem.
Yes,
Yeah,
we'll
we'll
send
send
them
them
over
over.
to you, Dominique.
I was kind of it'd be fine if you moved 2 weeks, 3 weeks, but literally this amount of time, I'm I shouldn't move my stuff. So
Yeah.
it's so easy as a mom to not make it a point of taking care of yourself.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's just I close the closet door. I don't take care of it. But I've been living out of a suitcase. I need to kind of put myself first.
And even just for your own peace of mind that when you get up in the morning, you feel more settled.
100%.
Because otherwise it's chaos where you're what am I going to wear? You'll probably end up wearing the same 3 things right now.
Well, it really has shown me how minimalistic I can be
Yeah.
because I've been the t-shirts and jeans I've been living in are really my favorite things. And so I'm how much do I really need of that massive closet that I haven't moved over yet?
Yeah, that's a good point.
So it's I've been reflecting on that, which maybe
That's
that's
cool.
important too.
Yeah, I think so.
Marie Kondo would love that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to see what sparks joy when I move my closet. And I'm sure that whole process is not going to spark a lot of joy for me.
And it may take time.
It has. And I'm just, I need to get it done. It's the final, but when you've moved, it's the last 20% is just the hardest part.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
My husband and I had boxes, 2 boxes that we left for 2 months.
Yeah. 2 boxes.
It was
I think my closet's 400 boxes.
Well, okay, but keep in mind, we're living in 600 square
Yeah.
feet.
Yeah,
It's very different.
It's the multiple moves that have brought you to a
Mm-hmm.
point where you really live with what you need.
Totally.
I want to get there. Your goals,
You
Leah.
will. You'll work on it. Okay. I am taking a boss
Of course.
because Kate, Bailey, and I, or if our podcasters know her as Hunty, we found a brewery, the cutest little place right outside of our hotel last night. And it really spoke to me because it was an 80s, 90s theme. There was a huge duck hunt Lego mural.
Which she then had to explain
Duck
to us
Hunt.
because
They don't
we didn't
know
know
what
what
duck
duck
hunt
hunt
is.
was. No.
There's
Do
a
you know what
huge...
Duck Hunt is?
Where you hunt duck?
See, it's not a.
It's like the original Nintendo game. That was it.
There was one game that came with the Nintendo system, the first system, and it was Mario Brothers, but it was also Duck Hunt. And you literally would have a
So
gun
simple.
and shoot ducks.
You just
at
shoot your
the thing.
screen. It was so cute.
Hunter and I were like, is it a play on words?
Yeah.
What is this? I
Only
don't
video
get
game
it.
I know how to play, actually.
And Zelda.
Yeah.
It was like the same era. I'm surprised you don't know what
I
Duck
do.
Hunt.
I didn't. It's coming back to me. My childhood is coming back. to me. I remember now.
If we showed you photos, you would totally remember it. But then it has like a giant light bright mural.
So they were talking to you. You were like, I'm where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah, we were in there and I was like, this is what I grew up with. It was the cutest little place. So I feel like that's a boss, finding a place where I felt very comfortable.
I think
and
that
could have a beer.
We'll probably go back there.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
we will for
Well,
sure.
you guys have to take me back next time.
Yes,
We will.
you
I
have
missed
to
that
come.
one. Okay.
It's a cute little place. Kate?
I'm going to take a boss because I am in LA.
Yeah.
Started as an intern. Now I'm here.
Started from the bottom.
Now we hear.
Yeah.
And you
Seriously,
started as
though.
an intern not that long ago.
Like almost 2 years ago.
I feel like if we're reflecting on your job, you have seriously like created and found your own position in the company.
Thank you.
Because there were many times where it was really undefined. And I think we're
Yes.
finally giving it a bit of a definition.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I've just taken on the things that I want to do and be like, Donni, I'm doing this now.
And I love
Just so
it.
you know.
I love it. And I think that's such a good leadership quality.
Yeah.
So I
Thank
think
you.
that's a good boss.
Yeah.
I vote for
It's
that.
such a good boss. Yep, I agree.
What about you?
I think I will take a boss because I found the perfect condo to live in New York, and it took a while to get approved by the condo board, but essentially it's my apartment in West Hollywood transplanted into
Really?
Oh my gosh.
It looks very much
amazing.
alike, but it's bigger and more expensive.
Well, I was going to say,
But it has a washer dryer, and that
amazing.
means so much in New York. I almost shed a tear when I saw it. It has great light exposure, so I won't get seasonal affect disorder. It has exposed brick, which is like orgasmic for me. If I see
it's
exposed
such a
brick,
dream.
and there were 2 other people vying for it, and I pushed that. I'm a double board certified
Yeah.
physician. I slid that right in and got the apartment, and they told
Yes,
me
you did.
like
it was
5
like
days
that
ago.
Friends episode with the mini muffins. Do you guys remember
Yes.
that?
Oh, yeah.
When
Everyone's
Ross is
vying
dying
for this
that
one
They
apartment.
want, so they give
Yes.
the gifts, but there's like 100 mini muffins.
Yes.
Right. But I got it.
Oh, I'm
got
so
it.
excited for you.
So there's a massive move happening, but I'm so excited that it feels right. I go with feelings and a lot of juju and all that good energy,
Yeah.
and I felt the energy there, and that's where I needed to be. So that's how I determine things in my life.
I
is
want to ask
how
you
it
though,
feels.
what is the biggest thing you're going to miss about LA? There's so many
The weather.
differences. Yeah.
I mean, I think that's why I stayed for so long.
Yeah.
Because I like seeing sunlight every day. It does do something for you, but luckily I have the luxury of traveling, and so I will come back to LA
Exposed
as
brick
needed.
though.
Exactly.
I mean,
I agree with you on the exposed brick, just to take it back to that topic.
so
love
sexy.
brick.
I just
It's
there's
character.
something about it.
It's
Yeah.
character.
Oh, yeah. I agree.
And it's a renovated like 1930s building with an elevator.
Oh,
And I'm just-
Elevator
yeah.
and
I know.
laundry.
This-
Stop.
This is too much.
Come visit.
What a dream. Oh, I will be there.
So that's my boss.
And-
I got it. I prayed on it, and I found it, and it's mine.
You
That's so
manifested
amazing.
it.
Yes, I
It's
did.
so beautiful. I totally lost my train of thought. Oh, we caught you just in time too.
Yes, I am.
You're leaving
in a
on
few days.
Friday.
I am on a flight one way to New York.
Perfect timing.
So are you going to have a truck like move your stuff?
The truck already came
Yeah.
and went, and will meet me in a week. And I just have a few suitcases of the miscellaneous, and then I'll start to buy some extra furniture while I'm there.
Moving
and
is so cleansing.
It is.
I've moved a lot in my life. Like I moved around a lot like when I was a child. And for me, although it's like really hard, change is hard. Into the States, change is something I still struggle with. But it's so cleansing. It's like a fresh start. And there's something so exciting and revitalizing about a fresh
And you
start.
can get rid of stuff that no longer serves you. And
Oh,
so I'm
yeah.
in that process at the moment, and you have to learn to let go of things. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
if it doesn't spark joy, we'll take it there. But if it doesn't serve a purpose, I don't need it. And things don't, because things happen, life happens, fires, whatever. They don't mean that much.
They don't mean
so
that much.
really
So true.
take the stuff that really
But I feel like it
resonates
also
with you.
allows you to like open yourself up to like be something you may not be being, right? Like you just like you can wear a different hat in some ways. Not like if you're living something that isn't truly authentic, you can kind of try to
you can start over. It's a new start.
It's a fresh start. Yeah.
And I've needed it, I think,
I'm
after
excited
10
for you.
years. So exciting.
Oh, so exciting. Hey, Donni, your weekly obsession or a tip or fact?
I'm going to go with the fact that I'm still celery juicing. I feel like I've really stuck with this trend. And I talked about it when I first started doing it. And it's like become such a daily ritual for me. It's like even before my coffee, everything, I get up, it's like I wash my things. It's like part of I make the kids' lunches. And I just really enjoy it. And it definitely, I can say, like, I didn't want to like hop on the bandwagon and be like celery juicing. It's like I feel so much better. But I think like a month in, I do feel a lot better. And I think my skin is better. And so I think there's some positive effects from it. So I'm going to keep doing it.
That's so good. Try celery juicing. Organic celery, obviously.
Yeah, I think it's organic. It has to be.
And
As we've learned.
Funny story, actually. I went grocery shopping last week for like the first time ever. And he comes home with all of he's so proud. Like he's got the whole list and he's got all this stuff. And nothing's organic. Like nothing.
Oh, Melissa would have been so disappointed.
Unpacking, and I'm like trying not to be like, I'm trying to be really positive. I'm like, thank you for doing this. Like, this is awesome.
But you did it wrong.
But you did it wrong, and
all.
none of it's organic. And I wouldn't usually be like that, but we had podcasted with this. I'm just giving her the backstory.
Yes.
Podcasted with this lady who kind of highlighted how important it is that basically
and the science behind it, not
science
just
behind it, that basically if it's not organic, it's basically void of so many of the nutrients. So I'm like, what's the point of eating it if it doesn't have anything? I'd rather have like salt and vinegar chips,
I'd rather have chips or fries if I'm gonna eat an empty vegetable.
Yeah, and which I probably will have that also.
Yes.
But
Balance.
Anyways, he took them all back. Like,
He did.
Really?
And he always makes fun of the people in the Costco lineup returning
Yeah.
fruits and vegetables. He's
You are
like,
that
what are you
person
doing?
now.
And so he was that person, and he returned
my
it. And we went to
goodness.
that extent. But there was so much of it. I was like,
Yeah, if you're gonna order that much,
yeah. I was just like,
you
there's
should
no
get the
point.
right
He was
thing.
like, I'm like, why am I even going to juice this? And he's like, okay, I'll take it back.
oh, that's good. Good for him.
Anyways, what are you obsessed with right now, or tip or
It's
fact?
nothing profound at all, but the new spring issue of Porter magazine. I love that magazine.
I almost bought it in the airport, but then I'm like, I'm not going to have time to read it on the flight because Elliot's going to destroy my life.
You wouldn't have, but get the magazine anyhow. I always appreciate that Porter highlights women doing various things, and they write really intentional articles on them. I'm just loving their spring issue. Of course, they highlight beautiful fashions as well, but Porter's they're a little bit different than like the Vogue or
It's
the
a little
Elle.
deeper.
Little deeper, and they highlight arts and I mean all the different
Feel
fields.
free to bring that to the office when you're done with it.
I will consider that.
Does Porter also do the round tables, like those celebrity women round tables about different issues?
I think
I
they
feel
do.
it's
I think I
them.
have heard about
so.
that. I think they
Right.
do.
Yeah, they do all kinds of different things. I really appreciate what they do because it's more than fashion. And that's kind of how I
Totally,
think.
because you also want to be fueled, right?
Yeah, I want to read
Substance.
about an artist or a politician or a lawyer or whoever doing something wonderful.
Yeah.
I really like that. So pick up the Spring Porter.
That's a
It's
good-
worth.
that's a
It's a
good current
worthwhile
obsession.
read.
I will read it on the flight.
Yes, you'll have plenty of time.
Exactly.
I will not. I will chase my 1-year-old around the flight. That's what I will be doing. What about you, Katelyn?
My obsession is the Business of Fashion podcast.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I actually downloaded it, but I haven't listened to it
You
yet.
would really like it, Donni.
Okay, I'm writing
because
that
it goes.
note right now.
Yes, it's nice because I like to read magazines, but it's kind of like explains it in an easier way for me. Like I stay more engaged with it, and I listen to it like when driving. We're getting ready this morning. I was listening to the Karl Lagerfeld episode, like in tribute to him. So yeah.
I'm going to listen to that one first because I say it all the time, but I feel like more than fashion, I like the business of fashion.
Oh, yeah.
And it is very different. It can be very different. Like
Yeah.
what sells is not necessarily what we attribute like the word
And it's
fashion
nice
to
because
be.
they talk about trends and all the fluffy stuff that we all love, but why it will fuel your business and what's
Okay,
gonna
I'm
help
so
you.
into
Yeah.
this.
It's
a
the
very
Porter
well
of
done
podcasts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good one.
That's a really good one. Dominique, what are you obsessed with? Or a tip or
I-
fact?
I think it's kind of a throwback. I've been obsessed with Sex in the City again.
Oh,
Oh,
well, you're
so
moving
good.
to New
Right,
York,
yeah.
of course.
You're
and I just
taking
felt
it
the
on.
need
Yeah.
to
Oh, yeah.
watch it again. And, you know, obviously they have little tidbits and it's cute and it's fun and it kind of reminisces of the energy of New York. But something, I think it was season 5 where she's with Candace Bergman, who played her Vogue editor,
Yeah.
Carrie's Vogue editor, and she said, stop expecting it to look like what you thought it was going to look like.
Ugh.
And she's talking about a relationship, but I think of that as a life mantra.
Yeah.
If you stop expecting it to look like what you thought it was going to look like, you give yourself room to pivot. And so I've used that throughout my life, and I have to remind myself. So even with the move and doing new things, pivoting is a key. And if you're just stuck on what you're supposed to do, and I'm air quoting, you can't see that.
I have goosebumps from this quote.
Then you really can't move forward.
Yeah.
Wow.
So stop expecting
We're
it
so
to look like.
limited by our perception.
Exactly.
And like a lot of that was ingrained in us, maybe like from the story we told ourselves of I wanted to be married by this age, or I wanted to have kids, and not living life the way we're supposed to, which we don't know.
And then you feel bad if you haven't reached those particular landmarks.
Yeah.
Because that's what you're. I'm 29 years old. I should have done X, Y, and Z. And we all get into that. But watching that, and I remember when it came out and listening to that episode, I was like, that's a good little tidbit. But that's something
a really good
I
tidbit.
hold on
That's such
to.
a profound tidbit from Sex and the City.
I know.
Yeah.
Wow.
I feel like there's a lot of that in there, like very deep.
There actually is.
Yeah, there is, and there's a lot of like this female movement and whatever. It's right there, and it was a little bit ahead of its time.
Oh yeah, it was such a scandalous show at the time.
I would go back, and sometimes I'll say something, and I'll be like, "That's the gospel according to Samantha."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm just kind of. So it was nice to reminisce and have that quote and to be so relevant to what's going on right now and how I move my life forward.
Yeah.
And it's not just because you think it should be one way doesn't mean that's what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I firmly believe that we all have a purpose long before we get here. Like it's finding what that is.
Exactly.
And it's not creating things is part of it, but really it's like if you can find that deeper purpose, that's the biggest thing. And as a mom, that's what I do with my kids. It's like I want to just help them find what they're supposed to be, that naturally, not like force them
And to
get
get out
into
of
a
their
box.
own way,
Yeah.
essentially, for all of us to get out of our own way to
Well, we're all trying
reach
to
our
do what we
greatness.
saw someone else do, but truly, like we are we're unique souls, and we're supposed to be doing something. I don't necessarily know what my purpose is at this point in time, right?
And we'll find it. You'll find it. Everybody will.
So you have to be open to it. But if you're so busy in telling yourself the story that you're supposed to be living, you're not open to experiencing that.
I love that.
A good episode. I believe it was season 5.
That is a good episode. We're gonna dig that one out. Donni, who's your boss babe crush?
Okay, I actually was cruising Instagram this morning and I saw a quote from Lady Gaga and I screenshotted it because I was like, screenshot it.
Yeah,
Screenshot it. And I'm gonna read it. I had a boyfriend who told me I'd never succeed, never be nominated for a Grammy, never have a hit, and hoped I'd fail. I said to him, someday when we're not together, you won't be able to order a cup of coffee at the fucking deli without hearing or seeing me.
Amen.
And I read that and I was like, oh my God, like the determination in what she has created for herself as a brand, as like a talented artist is wild. And I think women have been held down by men in the past in some ways. And that's like really inspiring to me, just hearing that.
I also read another, I wish I could find it quickly to share it, but I could share it in our Facebook group. Someone had written a really beautiful post about all the women who won at the Oscars.
Oh.
And they were talking about how long it took these women to succeed. And they were saying, this person started in her 20s doing this, and she filmed all these things up until now, and then she finally won an Oscar, and they went on. And they said, they weren't comparing women to men in this. They were saying, like, you have to remember that you're not going to have an overnight success. Like, you could spend 25 years building something before you actually get recognized for it.
Yeah,
and we have to remember that. We're in such an instant society. We have to remember that it does take sometimes decades to build up what you want to achieve.
What's that quote too? It's like, remember that time you wanted everything that you have right now.
Right.
Like think back to when you didn't have it, and like look back a decade or 2 decades and say like what your goals were, and then be like, oh, I actually really have achieved those things. And it could be personally, it could be professionally, in so many different ways. But I heard that quote this week and I was like, oh, that's actually so true.
So good.
Although I still have all these goals I want to crush and all these things I want to do, Like
you wanted
reflecting
to
on
be exactly where you are right now a
Yeah.
while ago.
Exactly.
So true.
Yeah. And I didn't have any of those things.
Yeah. That's good. I like that. I'm crushing on Vitruvi co-founder Sarah Panton. Well, and their business in general. They landed on Fast Company's World's Most Innovative Companies list.
Wow.
Yeah, they're number 8 or something. Like, amazing accomplishment for them.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And when we podcasted with them, they kind of alluded to having some big things. They had just secured Sephora at that point.
That's right. And they
That's
were
big.
so
Big.
humble, down to earth, hardworking, and
yeah.
focused.
And now they're on Sephora, Goop, a couple other big national retailers, and then Fast Company's World's Most Innovative Companies list.
Wow.
That's so incredible
That's
for
so
a
incredible.
Vancouver brand. Like I think sometimes we
lot of really
underestimate
crazy Vancouver
Vancouver
brands.
and we're like, they're doing such cool things here, but actually they're doing such cool things on a global scale. I think we just kind of don't see it all the time.
Totally.
So
And we
shout
had,
out to them.
Yeah. We should go back and listen to that podcast, actually.
Oh yeah, I think there would be such interesting tidbits about how they talked about their business and some of the goals
They
coming
were
up.
very, very, very down to earth and grounded.
Oh, I know what it was. I recently saw that they were in the head of Amazon.
Oh.
Did you see that on their stories? Amazon has like this diffusing wall with live plants like stories high.
Cool.
Diffusing through it, and she was posting there. So I'm interested to see what comes of their visit to Amazon too.
She's
I know.
posting
Very
it.
cool.
It's got to be big.
I know it's got to be big.
That's a boss.
It's a
That's
boss.
good
So shouting out Vitruvi and Sarah Panton, they've done really well. Who are you crushing on, Kate?
Mine was also Lady Gaga because I saw that quote this morning.
Sorry.
But
She's everywhere.
she is everywhere.
Oh, I got goosebumps when I read it. I was like,
Yeah.
yes, like go for it. Because the thought of somebody trying to hold her down when she's so talented and like, I'm just so glad that she's doing so well.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool. And I just remember like how much her music has changed. Like it's way more authentic now than I feel like when she
100%.
first started. Like it's way more true to herself.
Yeah,
So
totally. She's just so talented.
so talented.
I still
so
haven't seen that
inspiring.
movie.
Sorry,
either.
that was dramatic.
I think I may watch it tonight, actually.
I have not seen it either. Hold
No,
the
I
gas.
haven't either. We should all watch together.
Yeah,
That was
we can
supposed to
watch
be
it.
an inside gas.
Yeah, no, let it out. Bring it on. I haven't seen it either. I've heard that it's, yeah.
Yeah.
I am gasping
Dominic's
without
face
the
is
sound.
gasping.
Yeah, I've heard such amazing things about it, but I heard it's
beautiful.
not appropriate for kids. So I'm just
No,
like, it's
it's not appropriate for children.
pretty much that sums up my life. So.
Yeah. And I've heard it's sad, and I have to be in a mood to watch a sad movie.
Yeah, I haven't been mentally prepared enough yet, so I have not yet watched it.
Yeah.
It has a little catharsis in there. So
Okay.
the tears were shed, but it was really well done.
Beautiful.
I'm glad I saw it.
Okay. Dominique, who are you crushing on this week?
Similar to what you were talking about with women at the Oscars, Ruth E. Carter, who was the Oscar-winning now costume designer for Black Panther. And so
Oh,
she's
yeah.
the first Black woman to win for costume design, which is a
Whoa.
big thing. And I went to an Oscar party on Sunday at the Black Design Collective, and she's the head of that nonprofit organization that tries to give scholarships to Black youth to have them go to fashion school and things like that. And
Oh,
so we
wow.
were celebrating, and it was just wonderful to see her colleagues, people who've worked with her throughout the years, celebrating her. And we were just with the champagne and just to see her career, because she's done 40 films.
She
and
was
has
one of the
been-
ones that was mentioned.
has done amazing work throughout
Yeah.
the years, and it's almost shocking that this is the first time I believe that she was ever even nominated, and just did a phenomenal job for the Black Panther film, which I've seen like 6 times, I think. Now it's on Netflix, so I was like, oh, anytime
yeah.
I'm bored, here
Anytime.
it is. Between that and Sex and the City, that's kind of my go-to when I'm cleaning my apartment or something. So I was just, fangirling with her,
Yeah.
for her, and just with her colleagues.
Yeah.
Just proud to see women win.
Totally.
Yeah, and also Black Panther has been recognized in a lot of ways.
Yes.
Which is so nice to see. Was so well done, but also the recognition that it's
Exactly.
getting. So amazing.
I'm gonna watch that too.
Have to watch it.
How
It's
old
a
are your
really
kids? It
good
might
one.
be appropriate for kids, depending on the age.
1, 5, and 8.
Maybe for the 8-year-old.
I know it's actually awesome that he's getting to an age where we can like sit down and enjoy things that like we both like.
Yeah.
So it's kind of.
I think
it's cool.
8-year-old.
Okay.
Okay.
Him and I will watch it too.
Donnie,
Lost a button.
Donnie, what's one thing you're working on improving this week besides sewing a button back on?
Honestly, I hope there's sewing kits in here. I'm working on doing less and being on time. I know
That's two things.
It goes together.
Okay.
Because I always underestimate the amount of time something takes and try to squeeze extra things into that's the basis of my problem, is trying to squeeze too much into too tight of a schedule.
Okay, this is so funny. On the airplane, I'm reading Brene Brown's book, Dare to Lead. And she wrote like a whole section about her inability to estimate time.
Yeah.
She said, she phrased it in such a way, and I was actually thinking of you when I was reading it. She just does not know how to estimate time.
Yeah, I just totally
it's just something
short.
she can't do.
I come short with estimating all the time.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, maybe I have a meeting in an hour, but I'm like, oh, but I can just do this quickly first. And so that's why I'm saying doing less, because I feel like I need to stop squeezing those things in. Yeah. I just need to be focused on getting there.
Yeah. But also don't feel guilty, because it's just legitimately something that is not a strength of yours. Like, estimating time is a skill.
Yeah. So I have to learn it.
I'll send you the photos of this section of the book, because I feel like you would really be inspired by it.
I need to read that chapter.
Yeah, you do. It's good. Yeah, that's a good thing to work on.
It's interesting though, because I feel like the perception of lateness can come off as like laziness in a way, but for me, I feel like it's rooted in like trying to do so many things. It's
having
like
children.
It's quite the opposite.
Yeah.
And I was late long before kids. I was like a late person from like being a child.
You probably are like, oh, I have 40 minutes. I can do 3 things in 40 minutes. But really, each of those things takes 20 minutes or whatever.
Like I'm overly ambitious about everything.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I can do this. I can curl my hair and then like get back to this email. And you know, I'm just need to chill the fuck out.
Yeah.
Basically.
Okay. That's fair.
Yeah. What about you?
I'm going to work on reading more consistently. It's funny that I commented about reading on the plane. The book I'm reading is so good. If anyone needs a good book, Brene Brown, Dare to Lead. I think
I need to read that.
Dare to Lead?
Dare to Lead. Brene Brown is an incredible thought leader. She's highly educated. She writes with really good intentionality. I just enjoy her so much. It's such a good book, and every time I read it, I'm like highlighting, making notes in my book. I'm like, how am I not doing this more? Like, it fuels me so much. So I really want to be more consistent, even if it's like 10 minutes a day or 2 pages a day, just being more consistent about it.
Well, I think when you do read though, it's so addictive. Like you actually can't put it down. I love reading, but only when I'm into it. Like I have to like get into a book.
Yeah. I think that's why maybe if I just set a goal of like 2 pages a day, I'll get into it and end up reading more. But if my goal is to read 2 chapters, it seems so daunting. So I think I'll start with like 2 pages. It's part of what you were talking about on the last podcast of being present though. You have to really be in a present mindset to be reading and comprehending what you're reading. Yeah. Yeah. What are you working on this week, Kate?
Taking my vitamins.
Oh, good.
That's good. I packed mine. I like had them all portioned out and I packed mine.
I packed mine. I bought one of those little pill organizers and put all my vitamins in there for this
week.
I
am not the only grandma here.
I have them.
Have you taken them every day so far?
I have. Good job. We're 2 days in, but I have.
Yeah, that's fine. hey, celebrate the win. Yeah. That's really good.
I support Katie right now and be like, can you bring up my vitamins?
Dominique, what's one thing you're working on improving this week?
I was just speaking with the CFO of Haute Healing about I need to read more because I've stopped because life got busy and I'm like halfway into like 3 books because I was like, let me start this because this is relevant.
You
and
sound
I just
like
need
me.
to sit down and finish a book.
Yeah.
And when I was packing, I realized I have a ton of books and don't buy any more books until you read. Chances are that won't happen. Read every single one that you can, but I'm excited when I get to New York, I can have a library card again. And I just loved going to the New York Public Library to give myself some time to read. And I wouldn't necessarily even read something there just at my own book, but I love the environment of it and just people being there to study and read, and it's kind of a luxurious environment. And that's where Carrie was supposed to get married in Sex and the City.
That's right.
Little reference.
Yeah, that's right.
But I just love that environment. So I'm looking forward to giving myself time to read and not just at home, but to have a destination to read. And same thing with museums. I haven't been great about going to the museums in LA, but in New York, they're kind of everywhere. There's like a row of them and you can hit 4 in a day. And I love that environment. I want to connect back to it. So just to be a little more cultured, a more consistent reader, essentially.
That's amazing. We had that same goal, and I agree with you about libraries. The one in my old hometown was not very good, but
so nostalgic.
I love
Yes.
a library, and like the silence and the peace there,
Right.
and the smell of the books. There's something about it.
There's also something about not having to own so many books, because literally what do you do with them after you read them?
I put them in my kitchen because I don't cook.
I honestly love a full bookshelf. Like, I am like Dominique. I have so many books that I bought that I haven't read because I'm like, that looks interesting. So does that. I actually really would love a library just to house the books. I love highlighting and writing in them when I read them and just putting them
That's
on
why I
my
like having
bookshelf.
my own books, because I like to fold the pages down and highlight. And
On such a
make
page
little
folder
notes. Yeah.
and like a note maker in my books too.
Yeah, I want to keep all my books.
But realistically, you don't ever really go back to them, if I'm being honest.
I will.
I
I
have
actually have a few times.
I have a
It's
few
just-
times too.
It just goes with the minimalistic thing of like something else that one, like, thank you for what you've done for me to the book, but like you don't really need it after you're done. But it's nice to give it to somebody.
Yeah, I have gone back to books a couple times,
And
but
actually,
not super often. But yeah, I have.
I actually pulled out some books. I'm going to contradict what I just said from when I was a kid, some of my favorite novels, and I gave them to Elias recently. And he's really been enjoying that because it's like novels that I really liked when I was his age.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's really nostalgic to me.
I was thinking, I wasn't going to say it because I don't have kids yet, but I would love to pass down some of the key books that I've read with
Right.
my notes to my kids.
Totally.
Because then it would give them an opportunity to, first of all, read a good book.
Okay, I take back everything I said about that. Books are awesome. Keep all your books, store everything, be a hoarder.
Yes.
Create a library room.
Yeah.
Exactly. I just think that would be really, maybe not all books.
I just did
maybe
pretty
you've
shelves
read,
in my office. Like,
but
at
maybe
home.
you've read like a lighthearted rom-com, whatever.
Yeah.
You don't need to keep that.
Yeah.
No.
But if it's something that has impacted you deeply and you've written some neat notes in it, maybe that would be cool to pass down.
Yeah.
So maybe not all of them, but there should be a balance.
Who has a cookbook drawer here? Like a cookbooks of like that you never open and never use, and you just stash them, and they're like
I just have 2 cookbooks that I've never
because
used.
they like you Google recipes nowadays.
Yeah.
Like that's
Or
what
Blue
happens.
Apron.
You keep
Oh,
them.
no, not me. I have so many cookbooks and I use them regularly.
Well, good. You
Yeah, I'm
are
not that
contradicting
person.
everything I'm saying.
But I'm a different person.
Yeah.
I have different habits.
Yeah, I'm just not going to dig through a book for a recipe. I'm going to Google, usually based on the ingredients I have, and then find a
that's
recipe
true.
that works
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah, that's so common.
But even rom-com books I keep.
Do
like
you?
He's Just Not That Into You. was
Oh, yeah, I still have that
mind-blowing
book.
to me. And sometimes I have to go back to it.
That was
for reference. Also, Sex in the City reference as well. One of the writers.
That book was actually
blew
revolutionary.
my mind.
That
if he's not calling,
he
not
doesn't
into you.
like you. Stop.
So
No way.
I
Like,
still
no,
have
no,
it,
no.
And I will
He's just
reference
busy.
those kind of books when needed.
Oh, yeah.
That book is such an example. Was that book given to you, or did you
Oh,
buy it?
I went and bought it.
Okay, that book was given to me, which I think was like even worse because
By a man or
by
a woman?
friend.
Okay.
Okay.
He buys you a
That's how
book.
I feel about you.
And she's obviously being like, you need to read this and understand that I don't know who I was with at the time, but obviously it was a very subtle and not so subtle message.
Yeah.
But I did gift my friend the sequel to that book. They call it A Breakup because it's broken. Because she was having a
wow,
hard
I
time
never
with
read that
it was
book.
the next
Okay.
book of his. I can't remember his name.
Oh, that's a good. That's
yeah. They call it A Breakup because it's broken or something of the like.
Interesting.
So I did give the gift.
you did.
Yeah.
You passed it on.
Exactly.
yeah. He's just not that into you. That's good.
That's
Good
funny.
reference.
So yeah,
Blast
keep all
from
your
the
books
past.
essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Don't listen to me.
Or don't keep all your books and go Marie Kondo style. Do you?
It's so funny because I need bedside tables, and that's one thing Ev said. He's like, "Oh, I just don't want drawers to put shit in and stash it." Like he feels like
Yeah.
bedside tables are like stash drawers. So he's like, "I just don't even want it. So let's just get something without drawers." I'm like, "What?" Or we could just be organized.
No control.
Yeah.
Okay, Dominique, let's talk about you.
Sure.
Tell us who you are. I mean, I've introed you a little bit, but let's get a bit deeper. Tell us about who you are and what you're doing.
So, my name is Dominique, in case everybody forgot throughout the podcast. I am a pediatric anesthesiologist. I currently work in LA, but I also do traveling work.
That's a
So
title. That's a good title.
It's
got a
that's
nice
a
ring to it,
boss
too.
title.
Yeah, it's like, excuse me, like, give me my coffee first.
I loved
Yeah.
reading double board certified pediatric
And
anesthesiologist.
it helped me get my condo. So I sent that in.
Hey, sometimes you just gotta give the plug, right?
Pull the title.
I'm originally from New York. I came to LA for my fellowship. So my training, I was trained as an anesthesiologist and did further training to become a pediatric anesthesiologist at the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles here. And the weather was so nice that I decided to stay. But throughout my life, I always kind of knew I wanted to be in medicine because I had several family members that were physicians. I was good at school and I'm a people person, so you should become a doctor. And my parents are from Haiti, so it's a very immigrant, become a doctor, lawyer, engineer kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so that's what I thought, I was supposed to do, and the only thing I was supposed to do. I had a very streamlined idea of what I wanted, but I always had this creative energy about myself, and I always felt that there was something missing in my life, like I didn't have a balance. And it's always been about medicine, pre-med. I went straight through medical school. I hadn't had anything outside of science as far as jobs. And
there's no shortcuts.
And I always loved styling and fashion, and would go through those magazines and I would sketch outfits, and I just thought that's something I do in my free time. And one day I was
those worlds don't really live together.
Right, they don't at all.
They haven't
I
until
didn't
now.
really know there were careers in fashion. It never occurred to me as something that people did. Like, I knew there were magazines and I knew those things happened, but it just didn't happen to someone like me. And I remember I was chatting with an anesthesiologist friend of mine after my fellowship, and he had a girlfriend who was a designer, and she also did some styling, and she worked with Beyonce and all these things. And I'm not a jealous person, but the jealousy of her being in this creative field was so overwhelming and strong that the next day I applied to Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandising for fashion design.
That's amazing.
So I basically split my life in half. So I would work at the hospital for 3 days a week.
Because med school was just not enough, right?
Right. And I was like, I need more debt. Bring it on. Let me do the most expensive
I need more
school.
education and more debt. That makes sense, yeah.
And so I split my time between school and medicine, finished my degree in fashion design, and kind of felt that maybe fashion design wasn't exactly where I wanted to be. And I took further courses to do styling. And so I did wardrobe and personal styling for years after that, and literally split my time, half the week doing one thing, half the week the next. And that really created a balance in my life. I always knew that I didn't want to do medicine full time because I've taken call in 36 hours in the hospital. I'm not myself. I can't recover. I just knew that wasn't the life for me. So I made a decision in training that I'm just not going to work full time in medicine. And that would be, of course, a financial detriment and things like that, but so be it. So I learned to listen to myself, and people were like, you're not going to take call. You're not going to. And, I can deal with it. It's my life, and there's nobody depending on me at this moment. So I just made that decision. And then I found this outlet in fashion and doing styling and working under celebrity stylists and things like that, and having my own photo shoots that was very fulfilling. And then there came a time where the contrast seemed super big. So, I remember a specific day where I was with an actress on a photo shoot, and they do this for a living. They have, their hair, makeup, nails, photography. Everybody's catering to them for them to have this amazing experience to produce a product. And in that particular day, she just wasn't that into it. And it felt kind of a little defeating that we're all putting on this effort to make sure she looks great. And it just, we weren't getting that feedback, or I wouldn't say appreciation, because that is part of the job. Yep. And then the next day I was, anesthetizing kids to get ports in for cancer, for chronic liver disease. And at that age, when you're a teenager, you don't look good. If you have a disease, you're literally yellow. If you have, liver disease, or you've lost a lot of weight, or if you're on steroids, you kind of balloon up. And you're insecure to begin with at that age. And that combination, you're just not confident. You're constantly surrounded by adults who are helping you, and I'm doing air quotes, but it doesn't feel great because I'm literally poking you with needles, and we're giving you chemotherapy where, you physically don't feel well, or things of the like. And I just sparked the idea. I would love for those kids to have that experience, to have adults cater to them and make them feel how they should feel. Mm-hmm. It's not just about aesthetics, but to get that feeling of being pampered and, having the day about you, to see what those kids were like, and it sparked the idea of having a makeover for kind of these kids who are chronically ill, terminally ill, or disadvantaged. And I approached CHLA, Children's Hospital Los Angeles, because that's where I trained. How about, we do this with the Department of Adolescent Medicine? They're like, sure. And so we started off, I think the first event was in 2015 with like 12 kids, and to see how it went. And I didn't have super high expectations, but just how the kids were affected me. And I was like, well, now I have to do this for the rest of my life, because we were like crying, and it was just an emotional experience where a kid would literally say, this is the best day of my life. And we had a couple of kids who had terminal illnesses, and they were able to come down from the hospital and get their photo shoot and get the whole head to toe makeover. And for them to say it was the best day of their life, knowing how long that they have, and then to subsequently
podcast.
They use those photos at their funerals. And so that they had these beautiful glamorous photos with their family members in it was just,
For the family,
right.
It's such a gift.
Right. Because if your kid is going through that, when do you have time for a photo shoot? When do you have time for anything other than an iPhone picture? And to kind of
It's really hard. I lost my
parents
brother
do
to
this.
cancer a couple years ago, almost 2 years ago. And I wanted to take so many photos of him near the end when we knew he was terminal. But he was sick. He was a cancer patient. He'd been through chemo like 7 times. Like he didn't those wouldn't be the photos that he would want us to remember him. He didn't want that. Right. So it's like for the families, I just think of the gift of them having the imagery is like beautiful.
And to also be a part of it, so the kids get their own
for the
pictures.
children,
and
of course,
and
Well,
it's amazing.
Like my sister lived in Children's Hospital in Vancouver for I think it was like 8 months when she was like 8 years old. So we were there all the time. They were wanting to do like a little commercial with the kids in the ward. So they asked my sister, do you want to be in this? And she was like, no, I'm too ugly. I can't do this. It broke my mom's heart. She like cried so much, and she was like, you're beautiful. And she was like, no, I don't feel that way. I don't want to be in this.
Like an 8-year-old.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and it just like broke her heart, and it was so sad seeing so many kids feel that way about themselves, especially so young when they're already going through so much.
Totally.
So, such a valuable experience that you're doing.
Something we also talked about, Dominique, we did a little phone call to connect before this, is the correlation between how they look and how they feel. When you feel like you look run down or you don't like how you look,
it's so direct.
it changes something in your spirit.
It changes your energy.
Yeah. So what have been some of the positive impacts you've seen from this?
I think it's almost an immediate effect, because we have these events, and I have my CFO, Paz, who's in the background here, and she can attest to this, where when the kids walk in, nobody's really terribly excited because they don't know exactly they know there's a makeover, but they don't know the quality of it.
Well, and they've been in the hospital, and they're used to being like, all right, an
Underwhelmed.
adult's gonna poke me with a needle.
And so they're like, oh, let's see what's going on. And how they come in, and when the process is happening, all of a sudden they're talking to people and making friends. And then when they come out, these air quoting shy kids are all of a sudden posing like they're, Instagram stars or something of the like. And you see them open up and think that they're cute, and all of a sudden they're interacting with each other, because a lot of these kids have spent a lot of time in the hospital alone, so they don't have a ton of friends. But then they're making friends and taking pictures with each other at the photo shoot with kids that they don't know. And so you're seeing a confidence, and we get these messages on Instagram about, oh, how you've changed, I feel so much better about myself. I'm so glad you came. And so we try not to tear up when we read those things. But there's a direct, there's a direct correlation with how you look or how you perceive yourself and how you feel.
Yeah.
And so we have the doctors who, recommended these kids or nominated these kids for these events say that the kids are different when they see them in the future.
And on such a way different level, something that we love to do at the stores back in Vancouver is we love to give people makeovers. Like, we have a lot of new moms come in that are like, I don't know how to dress my body.
Most basic level, I feel like that's what we do. That's customer service in this industry.
Yeah, and I think that that's missed a lot in kind of like the fashion industry, is like, it's all about beautiful fashions, but a lot of it kind of might seem unattainable, or it might just be about buying another new dress. Exactly. But if you can kind of bring something to it that means a little bit more, and understand the correlation of how you look and how that affects you inside, even on a day-to-day basis.
I feel like also, like, it needs to be said, obviously it's a bit shallow that, you know, we need to like, we don't need to wear makeup and get dressed up to be beautiful. We're all beautiful on the inside.
That's right.
And that's what is important. But there is something very tangible. I don't care how strong you are. When you look good on the outside, you feel better on the inside. It's there.
And, you know, just because it seems superficial doesn't mean it doesn't affect you deeply.
Yeah, it doesn't mean it's fun. It's good. It
and
makes
it's
us
lighthearted.
Feel good. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also we have, in addition to kind of the hospital kids, we also have trans youth. And a lot of times with our events, especially our last one, this is the first time that they're dressing the gender that they identify with. And that is such a moving, it's hard to describe when that person comes in and how they leave when they're dressed with the gender they identify with. And it's a very touching, and, you know, we have the Center for Trans Youth at CHLA that talks to us about it, and it's just, you know, it's...
Yeah, I feel like we should talk about that a little bit more, because that is, that's really important right now, right? And so how much of what you guys do is targeted towards like trans youth, and how much towards like terminally ill kids?
So at each of our we have an annual hospital event that we have CHLA come with. We always invite the Center for Trans Youth. So even from the beginning, we always had a few trans youth, and this time it was quite a few, at least 10, 12 out of, I want to say 40 or 50 kids, something like that. We want to make sure that that community is reached, and then we reach out to designers and kind of local artists that specifically have, let's say, non-gender conforming clothes as well, because there are kids who don't identify specifically with the binary of male or female, and they kind of feel left out of things. So terminally ill, if we can have kids come down to the event, a lot of times they have cystic fibrosis or things like that, but most of the kids that we serve end up being chronically ill. And then we reach out for other events to foster youth, or formerly homeless youth, or formerly homeless trans youth. So we're reaching out to underprivileged kids with a wide array. So it depends on the event, but we're trying to reach kind of all the kids that are forgotten. When I say kids, specifically it's teenagers and young adults, because I think if you're a cute 5-year-old or an 8-year-old, everybody wants to help you, but once you reach a certain age...
The forgotten ages.
The forgotten ages. If you turn 18, nobody wants to hear it anymore.
Yeah,
you're an adult, you can figure it out.
You're an adult, and
you can't.
It's an age where we can really catch some kids and really help them with their confidence, and help them with skills, with workshops that we do, to really just elevate who they are already.
And this actually segues perfectly into, you are specifically working on workshops right now for that age group.
Correct. And so we're starting our first workshop with First Place of Youth. That's a charity that essentially catches foster youth that they're about to age out of the system. They don't have parents, so once they're 18, they're kind of on their own. So they catch those kids and try to help them succeed in life. And so we're working on a workshop, which will happen in April, where we help them with branding, how to brand themselves, how to show people who they are, personal styling, so that it all comes together. And then networking, because networking is a skill that most people don't learn, but that's the number one reason why people get jobs, is because you knew someone, you followed up, you made a connection. And those things, especially if you don't have a family unit, may not be the easiest thing to come by. So we're trying to give them the soft skills, how to have eye contact, how to shake a hand, how to really connect with people, because they may not have had that in their lives, and to really get a leg up.
We are not done growing up at 18.
Exactly.
We are not there yet.
It's
no,
not
and even if you have a family, that is not a skill that really you are taught sometimes. And those skills are so essential to creating your future. Whether you're educated or uneducated, that almost doesn't matter. Sometimes it's about building connections and connecting with people. And presenting yourself well.
And networking is not, people think of it as, what can this person do for me? But we really want to teach the kids is what you could do for the other person as well. Because if it's not 50-50, it's not networking. It's you being a taker.
Yeah, exactly.
Or that person being a taker. And so it's, you know, I meet you one day and you tell me, oh, I need a makeup artist. And I know someone. And it's just giving someone an avenue to meet other people.
I love that.
So we're excited for our first workshop.
I'm really excited for this.
I just think you're doing some really important work.
Thank you. We're excited. We're excited to grow that Haute Healing family. And so hope people want to be involved.
So
We
what
would
are
love
your
that.
goals in New York? So obviously you're expanding it
Right.
out in that area. How are you going to keep the LA?
Yes, we're going to keep LA going, especially that's where we started, and we've had our big events like at Milk Studios, and it was kind of a beautiful event with so many wardrobe stylists, nail artists, like celebrity barbers, things like that that would help us with that. But I want to start off kind of small in New York, build some connections, let people know about Haute Healing, and go into the hospitals with like gift bags, things like that, and kind of a day where we can give manicures, mini manicures, or things like that, and then we can grow and have a big events like we do in LA, and workshops as well, and we're open to, like I said, growing our family and finding out what ideas people have. And I think in the entertainment, fashion, and beauty industry, I wouldn't say there isn't a lot of opportunity to give back or to serve, but I think people are looking for that because sometimes it feels superficial. And a lot of times the makeup artists and the hairstylists are so excited to be able to give back in this way and using their time and talents.
I think that's a really important topic because I do think a lot of people in this industry, brands included, are looking for fuel, right?
Exactly.
They want to give back. They don't necessarily know how, or maybe they don't identify with a charity that works for them or something they really connect to, but it's really important to give back. And on a personal level, on a corporate level, and so I think that you're providing that as well.
Yeah, I think everybody wants to serve in some kind of way and they don't necessarily have an avenue for it. And obviously there are a ton of charities and a ton of things, but when we speak to specifically the fashion and beauty industry, they can see how they can benefit. And, you know, you can see the kids wearing your clothes and they're so excited because they may not be able to afford this. They never thought they would, you know. And we have stylists who, you know, develop a kit. So over time, they just have a lot of stuff and they'll donate their Dolce & Gabbana stuff or whatever the brand is. And these kids are like, oh my God, I'm getting, you know, right. And we've had so many brands that have helped us out. Lucky Brand Jeans has given us a ton of stuff, and Puma gave us shoes for every kid for one of our big events.
Wow.
So all these kids walked away with brand new Pumas and Champion, and just wonderful brands have been really good to us.
That's amazing. And I also am so interested to see long term, you won't know it for a while, but where these kids and teens end up.
Yeah, and we'll have like surveys and follow-up surveys to
Sure.
see
But it'll
how
take
it
years.
affected you, right? I should do a medical study about that.
You should. You really should.
I should, yes.
I'm so interested to see what the long-term effects are because it's obvious, like we've been talking about, there will be such a strong correlation in their confidence and how they present themselves and how they like walk into the world and what they create
And show
for
people
themselves.
who they are and feel confident, and even though they've had these struggles, and everybody has struggles, but that even something that seems small and superficial can make a big impact, and that's what we're here for, and to get the community together to serve in this way.
Yeah.
Because there aren't a lot of opportunities to do that.
I really love how you have taken your medical education and your passion for fashion. I think a lot of people feel like they have all these interests, but they don't know how to bring them together. And they can be so polar opposite like that.
I think it's something about LA where people are doing kind of
doing
random, crazy things, and they make it work. And I don't know if I would have necessarily had this in New York. There's something about LA and just kind of chasing big dreams that seem weird or what have you.
Yeah.
And people are making it work and they're fusing certain things. I mean, I know stylists who are lawyers. And you just get a glimpse
it's
of
a
things.
generational thing too. I feel like this has been a real change over the last like 20 years.
Exactly.
Where people used to identify with like a career, and that's what they did their whole life.
That's true.
Now, not only do we have multiple careers, whether it's like 5 or 10 year span, and then people switch it up drastically, but people do a couple things. Right. Maybe they have a side business that they have a day job and then they work on the side and they have an online store or whatever.
Purely their passion.
People are multifaceted and doing different things.
It's important to be able to design your life, and that's what I think I've done well.
Totally.
And it doesn't have to look like what you thought it was going to look like. Yeah. And my parents, I'm sure, thought I was crazy when I was just like, I'm going to fashion school. I'm going to be a stylist. And I'm going to work at the hospital on Mondays and Tuesdays. And they were just like, what is happening to our child? But then they're seeing kind of the fruits of the labor and people around me. And I can do what I like because I said so.
You make your life.
I'm a grown woman.
You
I can
create
do
your own life.
Yeah.
And you have some really neat things coming up. Tell us a little bit about the stuff that you're working on next when you get to New York.
When I get to New York, in addition to building up Haute Healing.
In addition to everything you're already doing.
So I've been working on this book, and I will likely self-publish, and hopefully within the year. It's the goal to get that published. It's basically a guide for medical students on work-life balance, because it's such an overwhelming time in your life. I remember being overwhelmed, but finding the little ways where I could express myself and make sure that I was having a good time, even though you're studying 16, 17 hours a day, or you're doing 30-hour calls or 36-hour calls. So it's kind of a kitschy guide on how to get through medical school. And it provides documentation for your life. So take a picture with your anatomy group friends, and what's your first call like? And do you have a kit for your on-call? How do you remain cute after 30 hours on call? Kind of thing. So it's, a kitschy guide, and I'm excited to put that out. As my, I guess technically second book, because I have an anesthesia book from before. But
what?
Yeah.
Oh my
What
goodness.
else do you do?
What don't you do?
I tap dance. No.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
When I was a child.
Oh, it's been so fun talking to you, Dominique. Thank you for sharing
having
everything
me.
with us. I would love to know, we ask all of our guests for a piece of advice or a mantra that you're living your life by.
In addition to the Sex and the City mantra, don't be afraid to pivot. I've had to pivot my life, and I think people are afraid to start new. I have a cousin who was talking about, I've been working at this bank for so long, and I want something different, but I'm afraid to start over. And you kind of have to get over yourself if you want to be happy, and just pivot. Pivot. Drop the ego. And I have to remind myself too, I'm not perfect at it. Sometimes I have to drop the ego and start fresh.
Things we're working on.
Right.
Yeah.
And just expand. And there are people who are far less talented, not as smart as you, doing good things, so you can do it too. So I kind of tell myself that to make sure, not as a comparison, but you don't have to be the smartest, the most energetic, the most organized person to reach your dreams. There are far less people who have done more. You can do it too.
I love that. Okay, where can we find you and Haute Healing online?
So our Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, at Haute Healing, HAUTEHEALING. And then there's on Twitter, HAUTE_HEALING, or our website, www.hautehealing.org. And you can email if you want to find out if you can participate or you want to know more, info at hautehealing.org.
Amazing.
Yes.
And we connect with a lot of brands on here, and that's one thing I would urge, like any brands listening or whatever,
Feel
if you want to get
free.
involved.
Yes, please email info, or you can email me directly, Dominique, DOMINIQUE, at Haute Healing, HAUTEHEALING.org, or on my Instagram, Dominique_Aimee, AIMEE, and connect with us. We would love to work with new brands and just give people the opportunity to serve. And it feels good, and it's a tax write-off because we're a 501c3.
That's right. Yes, you are.
So it's
And
always
you
nice
get
to talk
creative.
about.
You have imagery, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
I love
excited.
that.
I love it. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, everybody make sure to follow Haute Healing, and if you can or want to contribute, reach out to them. And then be sure to follow us on social at Style for the PRIV and at PRIV Talks Podcast. Feel free to subscribe, rate us 5 stars, leave us some reviews, and you can shop our website with the code PRIV Talks for 20% off. And then we also have a Facebook group. Hop in there for inside scoops, events, giveaways, and so much more. Thank you again, Dominique.
Thank you for having me.
Good
So much
luck with
fun.
your move.
Thank you.